We don't need no reason.
A fair few people were disappointed to say the least at Tien's elimination in the Tournament of Power, myself included. But it got me thinking just how strong Tien really is. So after a long hiatus, the How Strong series is back. Right off the bat I'm going to say that Tien isn't weak. He is stronger than most people give him credit for, and I think it's for one reason. Tien isn't outright strong. He doesn't use power like Goku does. A good comparison is Piccolo. Piccolo isn't pure strength and he knows this. He relies on technique to get ahead. You can say the same about Roshi. Because Tien lacks transformations like Super Saiyan to power him up, he has refined his skill set to a very high degree through training and combat experience. Actually, let's talk about Tien's training for a bit. This is the only time I will mention power levels. I know they don't matter anymore, but I am going to reference something from back in the day when they were. At the start of Dragon Ball Z, Tien has a power level of 250, and after a year of training with Kami on the lookout, his power level was 1830. That's over 7 times the increase in power in a year of training. Not only that, but he received training from Goku's old master Kami, remember? This means he can take this new knowledge and apply it to his own training to get even stronger by himself. Then during the Frieza arc he trains with King Kai and trains even harder than Goku did. This gives him even more experience from a new master that he can apply to his training and fighting. Then after getting wished back to life he goes to train for another year. All of that might not make sense now, but keep it in mind for later. Let's skip ahead to Semi-Perfect Cell. Tien could famously hold down Semi-Perfect Cell with his Tri-Beam, and this harps back to his technique. Tien wouldn't be able to punch Cell and do this much damage. Android 16 couldn't make a scratch by doing that. But by harnessing his ki control to an incredibly high point, Tien could. This is because of his training and combat knowledge. Tien knows he isn't outright strong enough to dent Cell, but proves he can work around that with his technique. Over 13 years later, most of which was spent training, Tien helps out when Frieza and his forces attack Earth. During this time Tien effortlessly beats many of Frieza's forces, especially in the manga where he doesn't even get hurt or use the Tri-Beam. He is only stopped by Tagoma, who is stated to be stronger than Gohan at his best, which would be Mystic Gohan in the Buu saga. From this I think it is fair to state Tien is probably relative to Mystic Gohan level at the end of Dragon Ball Z. I am not saying he is as strong as Mystic Gohan. I am saying they are comparable. Gohan is stronger than Tien now and back then, but maybe we'll look at how strong Gohan is in the future. And let me remind you that Mystic Gohan was threatening and beating up an enemy that was stated to be a threat to the whole universe over a period of time, destroying galaxies very quickly and generally being a bad dude. So, if that's his power, then what's his technique like? If we look at Tien's Tri-Beam, we know that it is much, much stronger than he is. Tien could hold down Semi-Perfect Cell and damage him, not exactly threaten his life, but definitely do some damage. After the Cell Games saga there is a 7-year gap where Tien basically just constantly trains, and based on how strong Tien has gotten in a single year of training, before we can calculate, he is bare minimum 51 times stronger than he was there. Provided we use a 7 times multiplier for every year based on Kami. Remember, he also trained with King Kai, gaining more experience on how to train better. You can argue this is headcanon, but I believe it is justified. I believe that in this increase in power, his Tri-Beam would be stronger than Cell for sure, who was stated to be able to destroy the solar system. I also believe this is backed up by my scaling that Tien is relative to Mystic Gohan level by the time Super rolls around 4 years later. If we take these calculations even further, then we get a minimum 28 times increase in his effectiveness of the Tri-Beam. Furthermore, we know he has improved his Tri-Beam by the time of the tournament. If you think that seems way off, then remember that Frieza was able to completely obliterate planet Vegeta, a planet with gravity 10 times that of Earth, in his first form with just a finger. This has been calculated many times by people to be approximate to star level, meaning it had enough energy to destroy a star. Then look at all the scaling throughout the series and the calculations and tell me Tien's Tri-Beam isn't multi-solar system level, especially after he keeps improving it. But Tien is more than just his tri-beam. He is also a gifted martial artist, able to give many a run for their money. He has his multi-form technique that he used recently, proving how smart he is in battle. By using them as shields and also helping him track his opponent even easier until he can land the tri-beam. He also has his 4, which is formed to increase his power along with his trusty solar flare. But if his tri-beam is that strong, why didn't he do more damage with it in the tournament? Well, Tien was unsure of his opponent's strength and doesn't want to kill him because if he does then he will be eliminated himself. Even so, he almost killed Hermilla while he was hiding behind cover from the tri-beam. Well, why did Tien use all his clones to pull Hermilla off the stage? He could have left at least one to keep fighting. Very true, but the remaining clone/s would be much weaker as stated, and this plays into Tien's intelligence. Better to guarantee the elimination of a hindrance to your entire team than be a hindrance to your entire team later. If you want more confirmation of Tien's strength, then look no further than Beerus praising Tien after his elimination. More than Krillin received from Beerus. Ultimately, it isn't up to myself to definitively tell you how strong Tien is. But he is not the weak and is not the weakest part of the Universe 7 team. I've just provided some facts, some figures, some calculations and some power scaling, and that's what we do here with the How Strong series. Anyway, guys, that wraps up our look at how strong Tien is. He has been a favorite of mine for a long time and I felt he needed some critical analysis after all he has done. This took a while to make, so a like would be really appreciated. And be sure to leave a comment to continue this discussion and share to spread the discussion. You can also comment someone you want me to take an in-depth analysis at, and I'll be sure to do it if enough people want me to.